Greetings and salutations. In this video, I will represent my view and my ideas for reparation for the descendant of African American slaves. This issue is very divisive, controversial in America, as well within the African American society. For years, movements such as ADOS, FBA, Pan-African organizations, the Garveyites, and among other groups online and offline, have done a great disservice to the discourse and debate, as well as political organizing. Therefore, I shall offer my own take, my own solutions and ideas. And I hope that in this video, many of you would understand where I'm coming from. Now, I will not use the term reparations, and I will talk about that later on why. But I will use the term restitution instead. Like again, later on in the video, I will tell you why. But first, because of the long, extensive history of this topic, of this subject, I'm going to narrow it down. I'm going to narrow it down to certain studies and certain research. History in the research that I have gathered is based on the works such as Robert Dale Owen's The Wrong of Slavery, which is a government position from the 1864 study, and Samuel Greedy Howe's The Refugee from Slavery in Canada West. From March 1865 to July 1874, the Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company was created and chartered by the United States Congress to ensure the financial security for the newly freed slaves and the African American soldier. During these years, at least $57 million was deposited before the mismanagement and corruption and death ended it. But here's what I propose today. That's my short history. But here's what I propose today. Here's my solution. Rebuild and recharter the Freedmen's Bureau Savings and Trust as an infrastructure bank with 4 goals in mind. In fact, let me add a 5th goal in mind. 1, the restitution and rebate for the descendant of inventors who have their patents stolen and taken away. African American inventors. 2, funds to the historically black colleges and universities. 3, for infrastructure for low income communities. 4, each African American shall receive a monthly dividend for the next 100 years after its creation, since they are the current taxpayer of this country. And number 5, which I just added, is create a baby bond for new families. This bank would be similar. And let me backtrack on myself for a minute, because I forgot about the add-on, the reason why I prefer the language of restitution rather than reparations is because of several laws that was passed between the founding of this country and up till the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The 1807 Slavery Act of both the UK and of the United States. The 1820 Compromise, and the outlawing of the transatlantic slave trade. Since many descendants of slaves were people born from illegal slaves who brought in after 1807, I firmly believe since it's a criminal act, so I believe the legal term should be restitution, not reparations. And since the Jim Crow is unconstitutional under the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment of the Constitution, I believe the term restitution is a repayment rather than I know that's kind of further in the weeds, we splitting hairs, but I think that we should have a better argument when having a grand, if we're going to make things be successful. However, this bank would be similar to the first, second bank, national bank from the early days of this republic that is independent of the IMF, the World Bank, and the Federal Reserve. The first step is for every descendant of a slave to receive $115 billion based on the 1870s 57 million in the first year. And within the second step, in the next consecutive years, a total of 500 billion shall be added for investment with interest uh, collected. The third step, if any, if and when a business or a foreign government or a local municipality needed a loan, the American descendant of slaves shall receive interest held back monthly. And fourth, each fund shall be replenished rather, annually. Now, this idea is not the entire idea I have. I'm keeping some of it to myself, and I might do a part 2 to this. I hope that in the next the next days or weeks ahead, when I produce a part 2, I hope that we will advance a certain idea, something that will change the dialogue and the discourse to be a more perfect, or should I say be better, so we have a better understanding of what really needs to happen and how to have repayment for those of us who are of African descent, and also to provide much needed justice in our society. Thank y'all for listening. My name is Big J, and part 2 will come up in the next few days or weeks. Thank y'all for listening.